Hi there, Ford owners. Today in your 2018 Ford Edge, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Roadmaster's Charge Line Kit. There's 5 main components you'll need when flat towing your vehicle behind your motorhome. You'll need your tow bar, which is the connection between your motorhome and your vehicle. You'll need your base plate, which is the connection point that you'll put on the vehicle that your tow bar will attach to. Your safety cables, which is a supplemental connection in addition to your tow bar. You'll need your diode wiring, which will take all the lighting signals from your motorhome and transfer them to the lights at the back of your vehicle so people behind you will know your intentions when going down the road. And lastly, your supplemental braking system, which will apply the brakes in your vehicle when you hit the brakes in your motorhome to help you come to a safe stop. You might be wondering, how am I going to keep my battery charged up when I'm flat towing my vehicle behind my motorhome? And this is really a big concern depending on which vehicle you're flat towing. Some of those require the key to stay in the on position, which means some of the battery's voltage is going to be drained due to that key being in the on position with the accessories that are running on your vehicle. And you also have the items that you've installed on your flat tow setup that are going to be operating, such as your braking system. Every time you hit the brakes in your motorhome and it activates the braking system on your vehicle back here, the braking system will use the battery on your vehicle to apply the brakes. And while that's an extremely small amount of drain there, if you're going on a really long trip, maybe you're going and driving over 8 hours without stopping, you could have potentially a drained battery when you get to your destination and then your vehicle won't start. Charge Line Kit is going to allow you to use your alternator that's on your motorhome and trickle charge the battery here at the back to keep it topped up so when you get to your destination you can start your vehicle without fail, regardless of the flat tow conditions that it needs to be in. So we're going to go ahead and look at our setup here. A lot of this wires that you see that are loose here is from my meter, so don't worry about that. This here is our circuit breaker that you'll receive with your Charge Line Kit, and with that kit you're also going to receive wiring, and that's basically everything you get in the kit there. You get the connectors that you need to attach everything, and one of these wires is going to run from the 6-volt connector that's at the front of your vehicle. It's going to connect to the bronze post here, and then our silver post is going to connect to the battery. This is a circuit breaker, so if we have any shorts it's going to open up so we don't cause any damage to any wiring. It's just a protection device that's in between. And with this running over to the battery here, when we start our motorhome, the alternator should charge our battery. Currently we have them both off, and I've got my meter hooked up with one on ground and one on positive, and you can see that our battery is currently 12.3 volts. So I'm going to go ahead and start the motorhome, and you're going to see that voltage shoot up. And it's going to continue to climb until it gets to the appropriate charging stage that the alternator is in on our motorhome. And it looks like it's settled in at about 12.7, which is just over what a fully charged battery would be. Fully charged is 12.6, so we've got an additional 1/10 of a volt there to keep trickling that voltage in to ensure it's topped up when we get to our destination. So what this means for you, you're no longer going to have that scenario where you got to your destination, you go, hey, let's hop in the car and go get something to eat, and then the car doesn't start. No longer will you have that. Your battery's going to be charged, you're going to get there, you're going to be tired, and you're going to be hungry, and you're going to be ready this time. Some of the common questions we get is this going to drain down my motorhome battery? And no, it's not going to drain down your battery. When you're hooking it in line like this with the charge line, you're essentially just hooking those 2 batteries in parallel with one another. And for the most part, you're only going to be hooked up when you're flat towing, and as long as the motorhome is started, it's going to be charging both those batteries. And even if your motorhome isn't started and you're connected, in most cases they're going to be separated. Our motorhome here, the 12-volt power supply only comes on when the key is in the on position or the ignition's running. So if you have everything turned off, they're completely separated, and that's how most of your modern setups are. But if they're not, to where you always have a live 12 volt here at the back, again, it just hooks them in parallel, and that's your start battery at the front. You're not going to be using hardly any loads from either of these, so they're just going to equalize with one another. They're not going to drain down. Now that I've covered some of the features of our Charge Line Kit, I'm going to turn you over to Ryan, who's going to take you step by step through the installation.
To begin our installation, we first need to take our red wire and get it hooked up to the back of our 6-way plug. So what we want to do is grab our 6-way plug. As you can see, I already have our diode wires connected. We're going to take the charge line and strip back a bit of the insulation on one end. I like to give them a twist, and the charge line is going to get inserted into the very center terminal there. So that just pushes in. We can hold it in place, come back with our screwdriver, and tighten down that set screw. So now I went ahead and ran our wiring up into the engine compartment. What I've done is where it comes out of our plug, just ran it along the top of our base plate. Just secured along the way, now and again using some zip ties. It comes out inside of our base plate right there. Continues up into our engine compartment. And I kind of just ran it through here and where it comes out right here. So now what we're able to do is mount up our breaker. It's pretty straightforward. You just want to put it in a spot that's out of the way. And I'm going to choose to mount it right here to this plastic lip. It's out of the way, but still easy to get to. And I'm going to do that using the 2 provided self-tapping screws. With it mounted up, what you're going to want to do is remove the nuts here that are on the stud. And set those aside for the time being. And you're going to want to take your wire and kind of eyeball it, the length that we need. The part of the wire that runs to our 6-way plug, that's going to get connected to this gold or brass looking terminal here. So I'll hold it up, get it relatively close. We'll cut that wire, strip it back, give it a good twist. We're going to take one of the smaller ring terminals, slide that over the wire, and crimp it down. You can then slide that over our gold post, take one of our nuts, we'll get that started. We can come back with a socket and snug it down. So then what I went ahead and did was take that remaining portion of the red wire that we trimmed off. On one end, I crimped on another small ring terminal, put it over the silver post on our breaker here and tighten the nut down. And this actually runs over to the positive battery terminal. On this end, I crimped on the large ring terminal, slid it over our positive battery terminal, and just tightened everything down. And that's really all there is to it.
And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's charge line kit on our 2018 Ford Edge.